Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Full Court Press Basketball Debate, January 29th, 2016.
Better late than never.
Chris Guyette here with Yvonne Juno. After a week and a half, we're back on the air. A lot has gone on, a lot has happened.
Sorry about last week, life got in the way.
Next weekend is the All-Star break. We are past the midway point in the NBA season, hard to believe already. And also next weekend is Super Bowl Sunday, where my Denver Broncos will take on the Carolina Panthers. Should be an interesting game, but we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about basketball. Now, the debate was ready to go yesterday, and we decided to put it off for one more day, because our Pelicans had a game last night. So we'll tackle that real quick first, even though it's not on here.
Yeah!
No Anthony Davis. No Tyreek Evans.
Right.
No Eric Gordon.
Right.
No Quincy Pondexter.
Right.
Going up against the Sacramento Kings, who have been, as of recent weeks, one of the better teams
Absolutely.
in the entire NBA.
Absolutely.
And we win.
Without three starters.
114-99.
And we were ahead
The whole game.
the whole game.
I actually looked it up. We took a lead of 6-4 and never gave the lead up.
And we were up by as much as, wasn't it 18 points at one point?
No, it was 23 at one point.
It was a phenomenal game without...
Now, we don't have questions typed, so we're just going to sound off. Yvonne, what did you like? What did you not like? What are your thoughts on it? Where do you stand with that game today?
It was a great win. We needed that win. It was an amazing game. I know you have a few things that you want to bring up that are not exactly what we'd call amazing, that we may need to work on, but this was a definite win, in my opinion, that was needed. It was a shot in the arm. It was a boost to the morale. And, you know, Papa is very fond of saying, when you take your best players out, when you take some of your starters out, when you take the big names out of the picture, sometimes it makes everybody else step up to the plate and show what it is they're capable of doing. Well, you know what? They did it last night.
Who are you referring to?
Oh,
Please explain.
I'm referring to several people, but let me tell you something. If we get rid of Ryan Anderson, we are insane. By the way, refresh my memory, what is the deadline for getting rid of players? Isn't it up?
Right after the All-Star break.
After the All-Star break?
There's 13 days till the trade deadline. But nothing usually happens with trading until the day of, because remember, last year, we actually did a whole debate. It was called Deadline Day 2015.
Right.
You remember that?
Right.
All based on that one day. So
Right.
I'm not looking for anything to happen probably until next week.
Right.
But go on.
Okay. Ryan Anderson tied his all-time scoring record, but I don't know when he found time to do it, but in conjunction with the scores. By the way, his all-time scoring record is 36 points.
No, 35.
36.
35. He needed 36 to set a new record for himself.
Oh,
He tied it last night with
35. Okay. I don't know when he found time to do it, because every time you looked, he was shooting, but he actually had 4 assists.
And 9 rebounds.
And 9 rebounds. I was getting there. He was phenomenal. Omer Asik actually stepped up last night. Wasn't anything to write home about, because he very rarely is. I'm sorry, but he played one of the best games that he's played.
But he doesn't need to be.
Right. But he had an outstanding game, and I'm not going to trash talk
Norris Cole.
Norris Cole, because he actually made most of his shots last night, was great at the free throw line, and actually passed off the ball when it needed to be passed off last night in a few critical situations. They did a great job. They did a great job. We needed that win. Anthony Davis I saw looks of absolute, I wish I was out there helping them win this game last night. And for those of you that don't know, Anthony Davis is recuperating from a concussion that he got, and they're watching him very closely, but with the new, now, 20 years ago, he'd have been out there last night. Concussion or no concussion, because what's his name? One of the announcers.
Joel Myers.
No.
David Wesley.
Yes. Because David Wesley said, I'd have been out there playing. I'd have said, hey, I'm good to play. And they would have let me play.
Yeah, but the protocol is so much.
Oh, it's so much
stricter now.
stricter. And the rules are so much more because they're trying to look out for the guys.
As they should.
Yes.
Okay.
I say it was a great game. We needed that win. And honestly, in my picks, I picked New Orleans to be loyal, but I really thought that Sacramento was going to be.
Especially with our injuries.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you in your generalization.
You're going to pick out certain particular points.
It was a good game for us.
We needed the win.
We definitely needed the win.
Absolutely.
It moved us up to 12th in the conference, but more importantly, it moved us, and I don't know if you know this or not, it moved
Probably
us.
not.
It moved us within only 3.5 games of 8th.
Oh my God.
3.5 games.
Are you serious?
So between 8th and 12th, there is a 3.5 game difference. And we are on a 7-game homestand right now.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've been doing better away.
Well, we're 4-1 on the homestand right now. We've got 2 more at home.
Keep my fingers crossed.
Okay. But, you know me.
Oh, you're going to, yeah.
I'm going to be picky.
You're going to critique.
I'm going to be picky.
Sure, as you should.
Because this is basketball.
Absolutely.
I
look at everything through rose-colored glasses. You're going to...
This game ended 114-105. I have no problem with us putting up 114 points. And with the offense that Sacramento possesses, I don't have a problem with holding them to 105.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
This game should not have ended by that score, simply based on the fact that at the end of the first quarter, we were up 18.
I agree.
The fact
but
that
it's hard to hold on to that.
It is. But what that tells me is one of two things.
Okay.
Because it's either you held it and you did a good job the rest of the game, you just couldn't hold the 18.
Right.
Or
you slacked off.
You slacked off. You didn't get lazy, you got complacent. If they'd have gotten lazy, we would have lost. Okay?
Absolutely.
But you got complacent.
Yeah, because at one point we were up by 9. Then a few minutes later we were up by 13. Then a few minutes later we were up by 10.
No, it got down to 6.
I know. It went so far as to go down to 6. I know.
Okay?
Right.
That's number 1.
Right.
My second issue, as I pull up the computer here, my second issue, I didn't know what you would do. We actually, it seemed like we were hitting everything. Sacramento actually shot the ball better than we did.
Are you serious in the stats?
45% to 44%.
Oh.
Now, it's only by 1 percentage point. Why are you being so picky about it? I'm not being picky about the difference. I'm being picky about the fact that we shot 44% from the field.
Right.
That tells me that we shot a lot of threes. That tells me that we didn't get to the free throw line enough. That tells me, again, that we got complacent with our lead.
That also tells me that if Ryan Anderson hadn't done what he did, we wouldn't have won that game.
Another thing that bothers me. Turnovers.
We had more than them?
14 of them.
How many did they have?
13.
Really?
They took care of the ball better. And they shot the ball better.
Well, then why did we win?
Because we hit more threes than they did.
That's Ryan Anderson.
Okay. However, I would like to point out a couple of good things.
Okay.
Rebounding. 47-40. Without Anthony Davis.
That's a big deal.
Okay. What is an even bigger deal? Points in the paint.
Okay.
We have been so hard on this team. Why are you taking so many threes? Stop taking threes. Go inside. Use your big men. How about 46 points in the paint
Good.
last night? Sacramento had. Why? Because 46 points in the paint out of 114 points is not a lot. It's
no,
not.
That's less than a third.
Why is that significant? Sacramento, with DeMarcus Cousins, with Rajon Rondo,
Who's a machine?
46 points in the paint. That's why that's significant.
Yeah.
Now, to close my argument, I'm going to be really picky. I'm going to be really picky.
Why are you dogging our Pelicans today?
I'm not dogging them. I'm pointing out things that need to get straight. If I was dogging them, because I'm not mad. It might sound like I'm mad. I'm not. I'm very happy with the way they performed last night.
Okay.
But I'm going to be very picky here. Ryan Anderson did tie his career high with 35 points. Iban, how many points did he have at the half?
I don't know.
30.
He only made five points in the
Now this has been an issue
whole second
with
half.
Ryan Anderson.
Are you kidding?
5 points in the second half.
That can't be right.
Yes, it is. He had 18 in the first quarter. He had 30 at halftime. He ended up with 35. Ivan, that's a problem. Did he get tired?
Are you serious?
Did he get tired?
I saw him pass off the ball a lot at the end.
Yeah, he might have been. He might have been.
He did pass off the ball a lot at the end instead of taking those pot shot threes.
When you're on, take your shots.
Not with Ashik standing right under the goal.
No. But when you're on and you've got the space, take your shot.
That goes for anybody.
You've got 30 at halftime. Why stop? Why stop?
He really only got 5 points in the whole second half.
And people are going to look at me and say, why are you being so picky? But to me, that's not being picky. That's pointing out a significant difference.
Yeah.
A tale of two halves. And
it's not like it was 15 and 16.
To be quite honest with you, I'd rather it be the opposite. I'd rather him score 5 in the first half and 30 in the second half.
Yeah, to close out the game.
People might say I'm being picky. I don't call that being picky. I don't. Please understand. The man dropped 35. Congratulations. You earned it. You deserved it. You were the player of the game, without a doubt. All credit is due.
And see, I sometimes feel the opposite. That you should go out there when you're fresh, not tired, strong, and get a strong, big lead. Because it makes it so much harder
for
them to catch you.
But you're contradicting your first point.
I hear you.
You say,
I know.
and it's a proven fact, and I agree, it's harder to hold a lead than it is to keep one, than it is to take a lead.
Yeah.
Okay?
Depends on how you look at it. You're right.
I can't have that. I can't have. I'd have been okay if he'd have dropped 10 in the second half. 12. 5 as compared to 30.
The whole half?
Yeah.
How many times did he shoot? Because one of those was a 3, I know. So that means he shot twice?
It was not a 3. He missed all of his 3-point attempts. He missed a free throw. Late.
He did not miss all of his shots.
In the second half, he missed his 3-pointers. Yes. He had 2 2-pointers.
And 1 free throw.
And a free throw.
Wow.
I'm sorry. People say I'm being picky. I don't call that being picky. Not when it's that big of a difference. To me, that's not being picky.
That's like night and day.
Now, to close the argument so we can move on, great win. Great win. We needed it.
Oh,
Needed
especially if it moved us
Needed
up.
the win. Needed the win. On to...
Before we go on to the next topic, who do we play next and when? Do we play tonight? Our next game is Houston,
I think
right?
we're off tonight.
I hope so.
Yeah, we're off tonight. We play tomorrow against Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
where we debut the Mardi Gras uniforms.
Right. That's right. I saw them advertise
Brooklyn
that.
at home. That should be a win.
It better be after what we did last night.
With or without Anthony Davis, Tyreek Evans, that's got to be a win.
Okay, but will Tyreek be back? Eric won't be back.
No. If anybody's going to be back, it's going to be Davis. Because Tyreek Evans is battling knee tendonitis.
Yeah, but I thought they were watching Anthony for a concussion.
All he's got to do is pass 2 more steps of the protocol. He could do that today.
Okay.
He could do that today.
Okay, so that's still an
It's up in the air.
unknown.
It's up in the air.
Okay.
Golden State improved to 42-4 on the season as they defeated the Dallas Mavericks 127-107. We're not talking about the game. We're not talking about stats. We know about Golden State. Yvonne, at the beginning of the season when this whole thing started with Golden State, we had this question.
Yeah, and it made us both very angry.
It made us angry.
Yeah,
We
but
said it was overrated. The fact is, this question is becoming more and more of a reality.
Absolutely. And the question is?
Will the Golden State Warriors catch the 1996 Chicago Bulls record of 72-10? Why or why not?
Oh, you waiting on me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. You know how this goes. Everything could change tomorrow and they could go on a losing streak and lose their butts. But if I had to bet money, if I had to make a prediction, there's a very distinct and strong possibility that this could come to fruition.
Okay.
Do they have the ability and does... Okay.
No question.
Do they have the ability and does the if I looked into the crystal ball, does it look like this could happen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because that's how many games away?
So they're 42-4, so it's 46, 35, 34 games, 36 games left.
And we can't say what we said at the beginning of the season. Yeah, but they haven't met the big teams yet. Yeah, they have.
Yes, they have. Yes,
yeah.
they have.
We can't say that anymore. They have met the big teams.
They've met the big teams at home.
Right.
I want to see them go to San Antonio.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, they've beaten my Cavs twice.
Yep.
Okay? But...
Which was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Now,
yeah.
what...
If I was a betting person, I'd say I'd bet more that this could happen than that it wouldn't.
Okay. The fact of the matter is that this is not it's a reality now.
Yeah. It's more of a distinct possibility, yes than no. I'm going to add something to this that you're not going to like. Sorry to interject and interrupt. You realize that at the rate that it's going, they're going to win that division. And they're going to be in the playoffs. And the finals. And this is setting Curry up for MVP.
Well, I think Curry's got the MVP. Okay?
Regardless.
I don't think that's a question. But I have a question for you and the question to all the Golden State fans. Say you don't lose another game.
Okay?
Say you go 78-4.
Wow.
How much does it matter?
What do you mean by that?
How much does that matter?
I don't understand what your question means.
How much does it matter that you went 78-4?
It matters.
No, it doesn't.
Why?
Because the playoffs is a
Change
new
everything.
season.
Yeah, I know that. But it matters because it sets a new...
I'm telling you, I don't care.
Okay, but that's what I was thinking.
You could not lose another game this season.
When playoff time rolls around...
78-4. You could be the number one seed in the Western Conference, have home court advantage throughout. I don't care.
Everything changes.
I don't care.
I know.
You can win all the regular season awards you want. Regular season is regular season, people.
Right.
It's simple as that. Okay? Now again.
I just meant it would establish a new record.
Great. Am I taking them in a 7-game series over the San Antonio Spurs? Absolutely I'm not.
Nope.
Am I taking them in a 7-game series over the 100% healthy Cleveland Cavaliers? I'm absolutely not doing that in any galaxy on this earth. No, I'm not doing it. However, they are going to run through the Western Conference at this rate.
Yeah.
They in the West.
And unless something changes drastically, Curry's got MVP.
In the West right now on this day,
Today.
they have no competition.
Absolutely.
They have no competition.
Boy, that's hard to say.
Now, I want to see them go to San Antonio. That's the game I want to see.
When is that coming up?
I don't know. I want to see them in San Antonio.
You can't look that up?
I'd have to go through.
Okay. Yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. We all know what's going on with them, although we haven't been able to talk about it yet.
No, maybe
We
there are people
will.
out there that don't know.
Well, we'll get to it.
Why aren't we talking about it now before we talk about the win over Phoenix?
Because the game happened more recently than the firing did.
Okay.
Okay, Cleveland's under a new head coach, Tyronn Lue, after David Blatt got fired. We'll talk about that. And they beat Phoenix. And they beat Phoenix for their second win under Tyronn Lue. Yvonne, are you seeing a difference between in the Cavs from David Blatt to Tyronn Lue?
Not really. Not really. And I can tell you why.
Okay.
Because that's still LeBron's team. The coach may call the plays. The coach can draw on his little dry erase board or chalkboard till his fingers bleed. When you get out there on the floor, those guys are going to do what LeBron tells them to do. And the press and the media and everybody involved, which I think looking down the list here, we are going to talk about LeBron.
In excess.
And yes. Okay, and I'm going to let you have the floor on that one about him being a coach killer and all that kind of crap. But let's be perfectly honest here, people. LeBron calls the shots on the floor as he should. LeBron James is the best player in the NBA right now, today, and he should be calling the plays on the floor. And if they don't listen to him, that's when they're going to lose a game.
I disagree.
Okay.
Not about LeBron. Not about LeBron.
Oh, about the coach?
What Tyronn Lue wants to do that David Blatt didn't do, he wants to take advantage. Tyronn Lue wants to do what the Pelicans should want to do. Tyronn Lue, look at the squad that Cleveland has. What Tyronn Lue wants to do is play faster. Are you joking? With that talent? Oh, that's perfect. It fits perfectly. So what happened against Phoenix? LeBron had 21. Kevin Love had 21. Kyrie Irving had 17. J.R. Smith had 15. The wealth was spread. But here's the thing about LeBron. He had 21 on 7 of 8 shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how is that possible? 7 shots, that equals no more than 21 points. And we all know he didn't make 7 threes. It's very simple. When you play fast, that means you run. When you run, that means you go to the goal. When you go to the goal, you get fouled. 7 out of 8, 21 points. I have never seen something that efficient in my life, except Kobe's 81, which we'll talk about later in the debate. 7 out of 8 and you come out with 21? That's the difference. Playing efficiently. Taking advantage, because under David Blatt, we saw it against San Antonio.
That's as close to perfect as you can get.
Right, okay? We were standing right here, they were playing, said, give LeBron the ball, and he's going to go one-on-one. That's not what Tyronn Lue wants to do. Tyronn Lue wants to go,
right,
as he should. LeBron is the freakiest athlete this league has ever seen.
There should be a competition to keep up with how fast they go up and down the court, just like a tennis match.
Take advantage of it.
Because this team can do it.
They play Detroit
and there's
tonight.
Not a lot of teams that can.
They play Detroit tonight. And
now,
there's not a lot of teams that can, and there's only one LeBron.
Right. But was he exhausted at the end of the game? Absolutely.
He might have been. He
was.
But he can handle it.
Should have been.
He can handle it.
That's the difference, baby.
He can handle it.
He can handle it.
He's fine.
Right.
He's fine. Get a good night's sleep, and you know what? Next morning, he's right back on the court.
Just keep praying that he doesn't get hurt.
He won't. He's a horse. He's a horse. Okay. Blake Griffin.
I don't know the whole story, so you're going to have to take the floor on this one.
Well, I'll explain the story to you because the story is out.
Give me a peppermint.
The story is out.
I'm sure it's not a pretty story.
It's not.
Okay?
And it's actually a pretty surprising story.
Really?
Blake Griffin
To you, it's surprising.
That Blake Griffin would go this far? Yeah.
Okay.
They were having practice. The Los Angeles Clippers were having practice. They got off of practice. And then, a few of the guys, this includes Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, wanted to go out to get a bite to eat. Now, it sounds like I'm making this shit up. I'm not. Okay? Well, along with them, they brought one of their assistant equipment managers who's been with Blake Griffin since Blake Griffin was in college at the University of Oklahoma. They hired him, the Clippers did, Doc Rivers hired him actually, from Oklahoma to be an equipment manager. He's one of Blake Griffin's longtime best friends. They go and they grab a bite to eat. We don't know what the argument was about. We don't need to know. But according to DeAndre Jordan, an argument ensued between Blake Griffin and the equipment manager, whose name I will not mention on this show. Okay? Because I want to protect myself. Okay? An argument ensued. And an insult was thrown out at Blake Griffin by this guy. Were they drunk? I don't know. According to DeAndre Jordan, no. An argument ensued, and then there was physicality.
Do we know what the insult to Blake was?
No. DeAndre Jordan did not want to specify, and good for him.
Good.
Good for him.
It's bad enough without adding fuel to the fire.
And he don't want to be in the middle of it.
No.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Physicality ensued. Physicality to the point that Blake Griffin is out for 6 weeks with a broken right hand, not a finger, not a knuckle, hand, from delivering a punch to this equipment manager in the face.
Did he break the other guy's jaw, chin, whatever?
Don't know.
You know how hard you have to hit somebody to break your hand? He had
Yes.
a fist.
Yes.
And he broke...
Well, obviously he didn't go like that.
Right. He broke his hand
his
in the
hand.
shape of a fist to the guy's face. He must have done some serious damage to that guy.
DeAndre Jordan then stepped in the middle. And who's going to argue with DeAndre Jordan?
Not me. Not me.
That is the extent that DeAndre Jordan went to.
Did the other guy end up in the hospital?
Yes. Yes.
Blake had to have surgery on his hand.
He has to, yes.
They haven't done it yet?
Well, I don't know when it's scheduled. I don't know
They're
when it's
waiting
scheduled.
for the swelling to go down and see how extensive it has to be.
Probably.
Well, I wonder what kind of surgery, or if the other guy had to have surgery on his face.
Don't know. And that
Oh my God.
and that won't come out till it's happened. Okay? If it comes out at all. But the way this whole thing came about was ESPN actually wanted to interview DeAndre Jordan and ask him what happened. And his response, gladly. He didn't want to be in the middle of it. He didn't want to have anything to do with it.
He gave the bare necessary facts.
Correct.
And that's it, without naming names.
Correct.
Okay.
Yvonne, your thoughts on this situation?
Oh my gosh, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
Whatever's on your mind.
Okay, number one, I would say 98% positive that there was alcohol involved. Okay? And I would be so far, I would even go out on a limb and say that the equipment manager, number one, is not much of a friend. If he insulted Blake Griffin out for lunch, okay, and he's supposed to be one of his best friends.
Unless Blake insulted him first.
Right, which we may not ever know. And number two, most importantly, did Blake Griffin really, is he really that infantile and cares so little about his future and his career that he would let an insult, intoxicated or not intoxicated, drive him to the point that he would get in an altercation and run the risk of hurting himself? And boy, did he, in the worst possible way that he could. His right hand, his shooting hand, are you kidding me? To the point that it needed surgery. This is the most ridiculous, childlike, unprofessional. This has got to be one of the worst situations and scenarios I've ever heard. And I would even go out on a limb and say, and I have absolutely nothing to substantiate this whatsoever, and I'm not going to name a name. But I bet you if there was an insult thrown out by this equipment manager, and Blake got that pissed off, excuse my language, I'm pretty sure that it had something to do with the point guard on that team. Like maybe as a comparison, or like maybe that it's more beneficial, or the team can do better without you than they could without this point guard. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling that person's name came up. I don't know, is there a woman in the middle of it? Is Blake married? I don't know. Whatever it is, it pushed a button in Blake Griffin that was an obvious, very, very sensitive button. But regardless of what the insult was, what it had to do with, or how much it made him angry or pushed his button, this is one of the most ridiculous, unprofessional things I have ever heard of. Right before the All-Star break, with so much on the line, with so much to lose, knowing how important you are to this team. This is so childlike, I can't even begin. It's not like somebody in the restaurant or something was dogging or insulted somebody that was in their group, and Blake was defending one of his teammates. That would have been unprofessional also, but that would have been much more understandable than to turn on one of his own.
All we can do with this situation is assume.
Which is wrong. Which absolutely I admit is wrong.
But if you want us to give you our opinion, we have no choice. We have no choice.
It was stupid. It was a stupid thing to do.
Yvonne Juno, I don't have too much to say about this, except for the fact that I'm very disappointed.
I am too.
Because I like Blake Griffin a lot. He has, as a basketball player, as a talent, you have to give him this. He is one of the few in the league that has worked on his game and drastically improved his game.
I thought he had also worked on his personality.
Let me get
and his
there.
Immaturity.
Let me get there.
Okay.
His game from 4 years ago.
Oh God, there's no comparison.
Has so much improved. And I like him. I like the way he plays. He's not arrogant on the floor. He doesn't get a lot of technical fouls. He doesn't push and shove.
Like he
doesn't hog the ball. He's a great basketball player.
He's changed completely from 4 years ago. On the court.
But I've said it dozens of times on this show. The way you play on the court does not reflect the human being that you are behind the scenes.
Or your level of immaturity or irresponsibility.
And Yvonne Juno, I think your assumption about one Chris Paul.
You shouldn't have said that name.
It's everybody.
Okay.
Well, when you say the point guard for the Clippers.
All right.
I think your assumption about Chris Paul.
I promise you that had something to do with it.
Is directly on the money. And the reason I say that is because this came out on Wednesday. And the Clippers had a game that night on the road at Indiana. Hostile environment. Paul George.
Yep.
Drama. And they won. 91-89. And Chris Paul had himself a night.
Yep. That was Chris Paul. That was the Chris Paul that you grew up with watching.
I think that Chris Paul was out to prove something.
As he should have been. He should have been. With the way he's been playing.
I think it goes beyond that. I think he had to go out with what came out. I'm talking hours before the game. Hours. Not 24 hours before. No. Hours before the game. I think he had to go out and prove, look, we're bigger than Blake Griffin. We're more than Blake Griffin.
Because there was so much trash being talked.
Don't let what Blake Griffin just did 4 or 5 hours ago let you affect the opinion of this team.
Absolutely.
And I admire him for that.
He got angry.
However, if on February 16th, February 15th is the trade deadline, if on February 16th, Blake Griffin is still on this roster,
you'll be surprised.
My opinion of Doc Rivers will change forever.
Really?
Because Doc Rivers
doesn't put up with this
does
kind
not
of
allow
stuff.
this.
Nope. But wait a minute though. We don't know how much the equipment manager had to do with this.
I don't care.
I agree. Blake should have taken the high road.
Because if an equipment manager walks into my restaurant,
Right.
I'm not going to know who the hell he is.
Right.
But if Blake Griffin walks in,
Right.
I know who that is.
He's a lot easier replaced.
That is a direct.
Blake, yeah.
That is a direct reflection on my team.
Oh, absolutely.
On my organization.
Right. Did they do anything to the equipment manager? Have they said anything?
They are still investigating.
Okay.
The Clippers are investigating as an
The NBA.
organization, and the NBA. They're two separate investigations.
Absolutely.
So
there
credit
should
them.
be. As there should be. Now, do you think that there's going to be, if there's repercussions from to only one person, that's going to shed a lot of light on who started this, stirred the pot, and brought it on.
Not necessarily.
But wait, let me finish my thought. But it doesn't make any difference in my personal opinion and in my mind. Regardless of if this was 98% the equipment manager's fault, Blake should have taken the high road and not
I agree with you, but
thrown
I
the
agree.
punch.
I agree with that, but I disagree with your first part because how many times have we seen athletes get away with stuff?
You punish one, you got to punish both.
How many times have we seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Need I name names?
No.
Okay.
Football, soccer, NBA.
Okay. Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Especially football, but come on.
Yeah. And baseball.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Blake Griffin and the Clippers. Has the time come? We have two questions here. Should the Clippers look to trade Blake Griffin? Why or why not? And are the Clippers better off without Blake Griffin? Why or why not? Yvonne? This is a team that you're very high on.
And Blake is not my favorite person.
No, but he is.
He never has been.
He is phenomenal.
But
Basketball
the
player.
change in him.
He.
Now, we're talking about two totally. Hang on. Let me make my position really clear here. Okay. We're talking about two totally opposite ends of the spectrum here. Okay. If we were talking about the Blake Griffin from 4 or 5 years ago, I would have a whole different set of circumstances and opinions to state right now. Okay. Right now, today, with the current situation, with the current playing status, with the way that he has changed and the way that he conducts himself on the court
It's unreal.
with the other players.
It's unreal.
The way that he handles the basketball, the way that, and nobody could argue with me about the fact that right now he's a 100% team player.
No, it's unbelievable.
He is
It's unbelievable.
100% team player. Because I used to scream at the TV when you were still living here, give the ball to somebody else. Stop being a ball
It's
hog.
unbelievable what he's done.
He is 100% team player.
Unbelievable. In my opinion, 2 weeks ago on this show, I said that the only power forward in the entire league that I would put over Blake Griffin right now is Anthony Davis.
So, should the Clippers look to trade Blake Griffin? No. Not if they want to continue winning. No. But then that brings up the question, so what do you do with him after having something like this happen? I don't know. And I'm glad I'm not Doc. And I'm glad I'm not in the position to have to make this kind of decision. The only thing I can say is punish him as much as you possibly can without taking him off the team or trading him. Make him pay a fine, make him set out a certain amount of games, do whatever it is you have to do. But if they get rid of him, they're going to suffer. The team as a whole is going to suffer. You cannot argue that point.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm very shocked that you're taking this position.
Because I think he's that valuable to the team.
I don't disagree with that, but he's been out 15 games and they're 12-3 in those games. That's better than they were doing when he was playing. I'm very surprised.
Do I think that it would make a very strong statement if they got rid of him? Do I think that what he did, like I told you when I started my retort, I'm talking two opposite ends of the spectrum here. The emotional side of me says, absolutely, get rid of his behind. You're going to make a very strong, powerful statement that Doc's going to stand his ground and say, this is BS. I'm not going to put up with this from any of my team players, no matter how important they are, no matter how good they are out on the court. I'm setting a precedence and I'm making a statement.
And to me, that's the end of the story. To me, that's the end of the story.
Okay.
And to me, if Doc Rivers, because let's remember something here, Doc Rivers is not only the head coach, he is the president of this team.
I agree.
So the official decision will be made by Doc Rivers. Okay? What to do with Blake Griffin? That decision is made by Doc Rivers. If Blake Griffin is on this team on February 16th, I will never look at Doc Rivers the same way again.
Regardless of the situation, the circumstances, or anything that may have been said or done by the equipment manager.
The only way, I digress.
What if he dogged the coach of the team or put down the...
I don't care.
Okay.
He doesn't represent my team. You do.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, because equipment managers can be found every
Let me
day.
take that back. Let me take that back. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
One of two things needs to happen. Either he gets rid of Blake Griffin. I don't care if you got to trade him, release him. I don't care. Or he is suspended for the year. Playoffs included.
Okay. That would be fine with me.
Because
You cannot reward this kind of behavior.
It is an insult. Trading him?
I agree.
Wait, trading him says, oh, you take that somewhere else. But you can play immediately. So what's his punishment? I gotta leave LA to go to another team? Okay, I'm still gonna be me.
And you know they're gonna be lined up to take him.
Why not?
Yeah.
Now,
that was my point.
If you
He's good
suspend
enough
him-
to still play.
if you suspend him
He's got to sit.
for the year, not for 3 games,
Right.
not for a month,
Right.
the year.
Right. He can't even come in the
Playoffs
gym. What would be worse, that he can't come in the gym or he's got to come in and sit?
No. He can practice. Because you got to keep him in shape. You can practice.
What if it's game time? Is he in there for the game?
Hell no.
He can't even come in the
Hell
gym?
no.
Okay.
No. He's there.
But he's got to sit.
He's in a suit.
Okay.
He's in a suit.
Yeah. To me, that would be the worst. For
He
him.
has got to learn from this. Doc, you are on the hot seat. With me, at least.
Yeah. Oh, baby. Throughout
Yes.
the organization. Because if you let fists fly, whether you're on the court or you're on your own time, you're still representing your team.
The reason I look at Doc Rivers the way I do, the reason I put Doc Rivers over Greg Popovich in terms of NBA coaches is because of the way he disciplines his players and the way he handles himself and the way he lets the things that he does represent his team.
Represent.
Greg Popovich will just blow stuff off. Oh yeah, he did that, but we took care of it. No! Doc Rivers is going to look you in the face, tell you exactly what happened,
Regardless
exactly
of who
what's
you are.
going to happen, and exactly the way it is, and if you don't like it, you can learn to love it. That's why I look at Doc Rivers the way I do. And I don't care if this is Blake Griffin. You got to handle your business.
Oh, yeah, No.
Let's go to Cleveland. To my team. We talked about your team. Now we're going to talk about my team's drama. David Blatt.
Okay, so what's the final verdict about Blake Griffin? What would you do?
Suspend him for the year.
You wouldn't get rid of him.
No.
Okay.
No.
I wouldn't either.
No.
But
Or we
the
can win without him.
harshest punishment possible.
To sit there and watch. Mm-hmm. But participate in practice, participate in training. Yeah, you can come out with us.
Right.
Yeah, you can still have your seat on the plane. Yeah, you can still have your own locker room, whatever. You're
But
not
you're
playing.
not playing a game.
You're not playing.
Good. Well, then we agree.
David Blatt fired after a 30-11 start and the loss to Golden State. Yvonne, was this a smart move in your opinion by the Cavs? Why or why not? And how surprised were you by this move by Cleveland?
Yes and no. Yes, it was a smart move. No, I was not surprised. Does that pretty much sum it up?
I guess if that's how you want to sum it up.
Baby, come on. Anybody that follows basketball and anybody that knows, first of all, let me go back to saying this is LeBron's team. Okay? But let's be perfectly honest, they didn't want him in the first place. Okay? It was honestly, as far as I'm concerned, maybe not to you, but as far as I'm concerned, it was a very big surprise and shock that it ever happened in the first place. Okay? I knew he was in the running. I knew there was a possibility. It was out there. It was talked about. It never gelled or jived or clicked from day one. It was not a good... Okay, let me see how I can say this.
It wasn't a good fit.
It wasn't a good fit from the very get-go. Okay? Do I think that they used... Now, this is where I have the problem. You got a bad fit, you fix the problem. You don't look for an excuse. Okay? The loss to Golden State is not the reason that they got rid of him. It's because they could read what was there all along. It wasn't a good fit.
Okay.
The guys didn't respect him. There was no connection. It was very obvious. It was very obvious.
any professional team gets a new head coach, especially one that's unknown or unexpected,
There's going to be drama,
not drama, questions.
which most of the time creates drama.
Can he fit? Is he the right fit? Can
Right.
he get along with this? Can
Right.
he do that?
Oh my God, questions come up, of course they do.
And that's all well and good. If a year and a half later, there are still those questions,
There's a problem.
it's obviously not meant to be.
Right.
Now, I was surprised
Oh, I was surprised too.
at the timing of
But don't
this
you
move.
see that they timed it that way so that they could use the Golden State loss as a reason?
I understand that. But I look at a record of 30-11, and then I see David Blattfire. Whoa! Just as a without thinking about it, just holy crap!
Right.
In fact, those were my
Out of
words.
left field.
Holy crap!
It's like, right, a bullet right out of left field.
Now I'm going to elaborate on what you were saying. For those people out there, those ignorant folks that are saying, oh yeah, Golden State is so good that they got Cleveland to fire their coach. Shut up!
No.
You are as ignorant as a rock if you believe
this
that.
is a time bomb that was waiting to explode anyway. They just needed a good excuse.
From day one,
Right.
people looked at David Blatt like he had a head, like a
horn
horn growing out of his head.
Right.
From day numero uno. Golden State is not the reason
Nope.
Cleveland fired David Blatt.
But it was a really good excuse.
Let's move on to the bigger issue here. LeBron James. Word on the street is that he knew about this. Word on the street is that he had something to do with this.
No! Word on the street also, not to contradict you, because we got opposite polls saying he had something to do with it and he knew about it, etc., etc. The other word on the street is nobody bothered to talk to LeBron about this. He didn't know this was coming. Make up your damn mind.
So he is being labeled by some as a coach killer.
Please.
Yvonne, we've got two questions here. Do you agree or disagree with the notion by many that LeBron is a coach killer? And do you believe that LeBron had anything to do with David Blatt being fired? Before I go on my soliloquy, you take the floor. Because
I'm sure we're
soliloquy,
going to say the same thing.
because soliloquy doesn't even
yeah, but we can't
do it justice.
We can't use 4 hours talking about one
I'm not, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Do I agree or disagree that LeBron is a coach killer? How ridiculous and stupid. What a label to put on such a professional, talented, unselfish man. Are you kidding me? That's blasphemous. That's insulting. No, he's not a coach killer. Do you realize how much he could have run David Blatt down all this time if he would be that kind of person? Every time they would have interviewed him, no matter what the topic of conversation was, even about what his children had for supper the night before. Okay? If he'd have wanted to, he could have dogged David Blatt. He's not that kind of person. He's not that kind of man. Okay? He's not made like that. Okay? That's not LeBron. That's not his way. That's not his tactics or his antics or his personality to do something like that. Even given the most impossible, difficult situations to work with, LeBron's going to try to find a way to make it work. That's not LeBron. And shame on those people that are labeling him with that kind of title. You know why they're doing that? Because they know he's not going to say. He's not even going to dignify that with a comment, a response, or an answer because he's above that.
I can answer that question too with another rebuttal. Because what else are you going to say bad about LeBron James? There's nothing to say.
Exactly.
So the one smallest thing they can make up, they're going to say it.
Part 2. Do I believe that LeBron had anything to do with it? Depends on how you define that. Do I think that he knew about it? Yes, I do. I think you can't be the best player in the NBA and not have people in the front office come to you and not talk to you, not asking his opinion or permission. But I think that he knew it was coming down and that it was being discussed and that it was a topic that was out on the table. Yes, I think he knew about it. I think he knew that it was a possibility. Do I think that they went and asked his permission? No, I do not. Do I think that they got feedback from him? Yeah. Do I think that they should have? Yeah, I do. You know why? Let's roll some footage back. Let's watch them stand all around David Blatt since the beginning of the season and watch him draw on the little dry erase board or on the chalkboard and make his little diagrams and whatever and see all the players standing around him. And when they say break, they go out on the floor, they gather all the way around LeBron and they ask LeBron, what are we doing?
Oh, I'll take you back to last year's finals when LeBron averaged 36, 13, and 9. Averaged it! That's not David Blatt's doing. That's LeBron.
You can see it every time they take a break or a timeout or at the commercial breaks or whatever.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I think he knew. No, I would not go so far
as to say LeBron got David Blatt fired.
No,
okay.
That is a ridiculous statement.
Okay.
First and my last thing, I don't think LeBron would have done something like that.
I respect.
To go and to the front office or the owners or whatever and say, look, I want you to get rid of David Blatt.
Okay.
I don't think he's that kind of person.
Okay. I respect and admire your position and I agree with it. Now I'm going to expound on this topic because I am personally insulted by this.
I'm insulted for him.
This is my favorite player on God's green earth. I have been a LeBron fan since he was drafted in 2003. You've been a LeBron fan since he was drafted. Not quite as much as me. You've really grown to love LeBron. I was a LeBron lover from the beginning. In fact, I remember sitting here in that chair right there at 11 o'clock at night doing a trifold on LeBron James as my 8th grade English project.
Yep.
Okay? I remember doing it. Now I digress. Let's give credit. Let's do something that no one else seems to be doing. How about giving David Blatt some credit? I think, personally, say what you want about LeBron, David Blatt did a phenomenal job.
Uh-huh.
For a guy that had so much talked about him and so many naysayers.
The deck was definitely stacked against him.
I personally think he did a phenomenal job. And I think he deserves a coaching job in the NBA. I do. Now, on to the bigger issue. You know what? I'm going to sum it up.
There's just not enough to say about these people who are just
I'm going to sum it up very simply.
saying as much ugliness as they can.
If LeBron James was a coach killer, I'm going to take you all the way back to 2011. No! Before I do that, I'm going to take it back to 08, 09. '09. LeBron's in the finals. No, Eastern Conference Finals. Against the Boston Celtics. LeBron gets swept in Cleveland.
Not pretty.
And LeBron, as he's walking through the tunnel, very, very, very famous image as he's walking back to the locker room after getting swept, takes his Cleveland jersey off. And Mike Breen, I'll never forget the call, says, "Is this the last game for LeBron James in Cleveland?" Why did LeBron leave? Not because he lost in the finals.
No.
Not because he didn't have the help. He left because David Griffin, the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers, cares about nothing but David Griffin. Because the Cleveland Cavaliers organization was in shambles. Because of the inconsistency of that front office day by day by day.
They contradicted
He
each other.
left.
They contradicted each other about topics in the same day.
But that's got nothing to do with him being a coach killer. I'm saying that to tell you where LeBron's position is as a human being. He wants the best for himself.
As he should, don't we all?
Then he makes the announcement, the decision. I quote, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach to team up with Dwayne Wade
Who wouldn't?
and Chris Bosh."
Which was a very strategic, very scary thing for him to do. If you think back on, you know how many sleepless nights he must have had going back and forth with that decision?
And in the first year,
And they burned his jersey and they talked trash about him.
and
they,
in the first
oh
year,
my God.
in the first year in Miami, 2000,
You remember what the town did about him?
2011, first year in Miami, they go to the finals. And they play the Dallas Mavericks.
Remind us of who was on the Mavericks at that time.
Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Dirk Nowitzki.
Yep.
And they got beat by Dallas. Something that no one expected. At that moment, if LeBron was a coach killer, at that moment, LeBron would have gone to one Pat Riley and said, "Hey, Pat, we need to do something about this Eric Spoelstra guy. He got to go." But guess what? LeBron said no.
No, he stuck it out.
That finals was on me. I didn't perform. I wet the bed in the final, and we saw it. He wet the damn bed in the finals against Dallas. And next year, 2012.
Well, in the conference after, he held his head in his hands and said, "I take full responsibility for this."
2012. Guess what?
Yeah,
They're right back in the finals
but it was a whole different story.
against Oklahoma City. And Durant and Westbrook.
Yep.
And people forget, James Harden was on that team. Westbrook, Harden, and Durant.
Now, Harden was not playing then like he
Well,
plays now.
no, but still.
But he was still a force to be reckoned with.
And the Miami Heat won that series 4-1. They dropped game one
Yep.
in OKC.
Yeah, they lost the first game.
And they won 4 straight.
Yeah, it only took losing that first one for them to realize, we're not going to let this happen again.
And then the next year,
Yep, again.
they play San Antonio.
Yep.
Now, that's the famous Ray Allen three-pointer in Game 6.
Yeah.
That saved LeBron. It did, okay? But Game 6 didn't matter once Game 7 started.
Right.
And what happened in Game 7?
Yeah, wait a minute though. That's Ray Allen's job out there, was to make those.
Okay, but Game 6 down 3-2 in the
Oh,
series
you're right.
at home with 2 seconds. Really? Only Ray Allen or Kobe would have made that shot.
Surprises the hell out of me.
Leave
why Ray
it-
Allen is not playing today.
And I said it. Leave it to freaking Ray Allen.
Yeah, which still has me baffled why nobody ever picked him up
He's
today.
retired. Okay? But once Game 7 started, Game 6 didn't matter. And for a guy in LeBron that's been labeled non-clutch, can't get it done at the big moment, what did he do in Game 7?
Right.
37 points against San Antonio?
It was like watching a tennis
Are you
match.
serious?
I know.
What is my point with all of this? Last time I checked, Yvonne Juno, Eric Spoelstra's still the coach in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
But LeBron's a coach killer, right?
No. That's so ugly.
Hashtag,
That's so hateful.
hashtag, give me a damn break.
That's hateful. It's
And I'm done.
hurtful. It's insulting. And you're right. They can't say anything about his personal
No!
life.
There's nothing bad to say!
They can't say anything about him being a philanderer and cheating on his wife. They can't say anything about him being a thug. They can't say anything about him using drugs or being an alcoholic. They can't say anything about him mistreating his children. They can't say anything negative about him being a bad team sport or game player. So let's find something negative.
No, not let's find something. Let's make something,
Make something up.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Because if you find something,
There was
that
something
means
there to begin
it
with.
exists.
Right. Right.
Let's make something
Let's
up.
make up some trash. But the bad part is, the only thing that could have been worse than labeling him this, to put a smudge or a blemish on his career, for people that don't know him, is if they would have talked bad on his family. The difference is, if they would have besmudged or blemished or been negative about his family, he'd have been on the TV making some very serious comments and statements, or getting an attorney to sue people.
And then what would he have
This,
what would he have done? Follow that up, because there's a second part to that.
finish it for me.
He'd have been on the first flight out to Miami.
Right.
Oh, I can be a
This-
coach killer if you want me to
This, he ain't gonna do nothing about this.
No.
You know why?
be. Because he's bigger than that.
He's
He's
gonna
better
take,
than that.
Gonna take the high road. But does this hurt him? He wouldn't be human
Sure it
if
does.
it didn't.
Sure it does.
Is it gonna affect his play?
No.
Absolutely, it's gonna make him play harder.
Uh-huh.
If it does anything, it's gonna make him play
I'm
even
sorry, he just dropped
harder.
He just dropped 21 on 7 out of 8. Let me go back to our second topic.
Exactly. The only thing better than that would have been 8 out of 8, which is perfect.
Exactly. Give me a break.
Absolutely. Shame on those people.
And do I
Labeling
believe that LeBron had anything to do with David Blatt being fired? Yes, I do. I think he knew all about it.
I do too.
And why would you not tell him? He's only the best player on planet Earth. Excuse me. Excuse me. He's only the best player on the damn planet.
He should have known.
Give me a break.
Do I think he was the deciding factor, or went to
No.
them and said fire him? No.
What is he, Dwight Howard?
No.
Give me a break. Greg Popovich will coach the Western Conference in the All-Star Game, and Cleveland Cavaliers' new head coach, Tyronn Lue, will coach the East. Now, I don't have Tyronn Lue on here because it came out after I did this
Right,
topic.
I understand.
So, Yvonne, are these the right coaches for the games?
Oh, yeah, why
and
not?
if not, why? Who
Oh
should?
yeah, why not? Why not? We could sit here all day and go back and forth about who would be better in this area, who would be worse in that area. Maybe it should have been this one, maybe it should have been that one, whatever. Why not? They both earned the right. They're both professionals. They're both unbiased. Okay? And they're both very good and strong coaches. And you know what? They've already both proven themselves. And Pop, it goes without saying. I mean, really? Really? Are you going to say that there's somebody who's more qualified than Pop to do this?
Yes.
Doc.
No.
Who?
Luke Walton. With what he did with Golden State. And let's keep in mind, Luke Walton's not a head coach. Luke Walton is an assistant.
Maybe they wanted head coaches for this position.
That's ridiculous.
Well, is that a rule?
No.
That's not a rule. It's not always been a head coach.
Now, please understand. Well, yeah, but it's he was the head coach while Steve Kerr was out.
Yeah, but Steve Kerr's back.
I think, and I'm not saying Greg Popovich is not a good pick. I think Luke Walton got overlooked. Because Tyronn Lue's only been a head coach for 3 games.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
I think that Luke Walton, with what he's done in Golden State, I think he got overlooked. I do. I do. I'm sorry. I love Greg Popovich. I do. And he's got just as much right to be the head coach of the West. But I think Luke Walton got overlooked. That's just me. I think he did. Because if you're going to have Steph Curry there, if you're going to have Klay Thompson there, and you're going to have Draymond Green there, you better damn well have the coach that got them there. And that's not Steve Kerr. That's Luke Walton. I'm sorry. I think he got overlooked. I think he got gypped. I really do. Because you know he's not going to get honored. He can't get Coach of the Year. He's not a head coach.
Oh, you're right about that.
He can't. He's not qualified to get Coach of the Year. So at least honor him with this. That's just me, though.
Okay, if they based it on experience and proven, then they're looking at Tyronn Lue for what he did before he was a coach. You're right.
Yeah.
Because he's only been the coach for 3 games. You're right.
Which is what makes that Luke Walton thing stick out to me. It does. And let's be real here, guy. It's the All-Star game. For 3.5 quarters, all they're going to do is flashy crap. They're not there to compete against each other. They're
Right.
there to put on a show for the fans.
Right.
That's what the All-Star game has always been about. It's about the fans. The fans vote the players in.
Do you think that Pop is going to make it a competition game?
No. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's a close game with 3 minutes left, you want to win. Then they're really going to start playing hard defense. But for 95% of the game, all they're going to do is flashy alley-oops.
Right.
And show off and shoot threes.
My God, how many threes do you think Curry's going to try to sink?
I mean, come on.
Jeez.
But see, the fans vote the players in. It's
Yeah.
for the fans. It's a money-making weekend. And it's an honor to be an All-Star.
Right.
I think Luke Walton got overlooked.
And I'm sure his daddy does too.
Especially considering Tyronn Lue. And I love my boy Tyronn Lue. But
Yeah, but he's
considering...
only been
I mean, come on. I mean,
he earned his reputation before becoming a coach. So why not? Right. I see where you're
How
going.
you going to argue before Steve Kerr got back? How you going to argue with 39-3?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I think he got overlooked. I do. That's just me. You might disagree.
No, I see where you're going with that. It's not agreeing or disagreeing. It's about what's right and what's not right. Yeah.
No, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. But I think he got overlooked. That's where I am. That's where I am with this.
Okay.
From multiple sources. Okay, we'll take a short break. According to multiple sources, the New York Knicks are looking to trade for Atlanta's Jeff Teague. Yvonne, should the Knicks be considering this? Why or why not? And should Atlanta give any thought to trading Jeff Teague? Why or why not?
I don't know. I'm going to have to turn this over to you. I mean, I could sit here all afternoon and say positive and negative, but when it really gets down to the statistical part, or what he brings, offers, doesn't offer, or whatever to the team, I'm going to leave that up to you. You're the expert in this area, not me. Is he valuable? Yeah, but I mean, how valuable? And what are they going to get in return?
Well,
See, to me, how can you make this kind of statement? How can you make or defend or agree with this kind of scenario when you don't know what the opposing offer's going to be? You follow me?
Yeah. Well, when you talk about these two teams, the Atlanta Hawks have not surprised us at all this year. We knew exactly what they were going to be. They were the number one seed in the Eastern Conference last year. We knew exactly what they were going to be.
More or less.
And they haven't surprised us at all. But the New York Knicks have surprised us.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis has not only exceeded expectation, he has blown it out of the water from where I stand.
I was about to say, now wait a minute.
Does that make him the best player on the team? Absolutely not.
Okay, I was about to say.
Does that make him an invaluable player? No. But I'm saying that when the Knicks drafted him, it was like, really? Are you kidding me? This guy? And he's doing well for himself. And nobody can argue that.
Yeah,
however,
but they put him so high.
However.
And pumped him up. So I'm just glad he didn't take that and run with it.
However, when you talk about trading, you're talking about doing something for your team now. Which means you have to take this is how you have to look at trades. Where are they now? Mm-hmm. What is the state of mind? Where do they stand right now? Because trades have an immediate impact.
Absolutely.
The draft, that's got impact 3 months down the road.
Right.
Free agency has impact once the season starts. You trade for a guy,
it's immediate.
Right now.
Right.
So right now, you take a look at the New York Knicks. Porzingis is out right now with an illness. He was out last night. He should be back for the next game. But Melo has been having some knee trouble. Okay? Don't know how severe it is. He says it's not severe. Doesn't really matter. When Melo's out, kind of hard to replace Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
And you take a look at the Atlanta Hawks. Top 4 team in the Eastern Conference, doing well for themselves. But they got a little point guard on the rise that we've heard of before named Dennis Schroeder. Okay, we saw him live earlier this season. Mm-hmm. Played well and has been playing well. So there's questions, and Jeff Teague has been having some injury issues this season. There are some questions surrounding...
A lot of injury issues.
There have been some questions surrounding whether Schroeder should start over Jeff Teague.
It's that time of the year.
Well, let's take a look at the 2 point guards. When you take a look at who the Knicks are starting at point guard right now, you look at a veteran in Jose Calderon. We've all heard of him. He's averaging 7.5 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds a game. Player efficiency of +9. Not bad, not great, but he's obviously done well for the Knicks. Okay? But when you take a look at a guy in Jeff Teague that's averaging 15 points a game, so that's double the points, 5.5 assists, that's 1.5 to 2 more assists, and 3 rebounds, the same amount of rebounds that Calderon is averaging. with a plus 10 player efficiency. If you can get him, get him. Now, should Atlanta think about trading Jeff Teague? Absolutely not, unless they want to lose.
Well, like I said, trade for what?
Oh, okay, but what are you going to get for the Knicks that's going to be franchise worthy besides Carmelo right now?
In the meantime.
Okay,
Because
so
as you said, it's an immediate reaction.
So as of right now, the Knicks should definitely look into it. Atlanta, in my opinion, shouldn't respond. D'Angelo Russell was benched for, quote, trying to take over. Yvonne, do you agree or disagree with this move and explanation by Lakers coach Byron Scott? And explain. Be prepared, this is actually one of my burning topics today.
Okay. I'm on the fence about this one. And there's a reason.
Okay.
And it's a very valid reason.
Okay.
Okay? Number one, I want to know what they mean by trying to take over. Because I see certain big men, point guards, etc., power forwards, trying to take over or actually taking over in certain games. And you know what? More often than not, it works out for the best. Okay? Now, let me qualify this by saying, I think that this is BS, except for one very, very, very important fact. I love Byron Scott. We know what a good coach he is. He used to be our coach for the Pelicans when they were the Hornets. Okay? If this was coming from any other coach, I would say this is nothing but BS. And this is ridiculous. Okay? You don't bench a player for trying to talk to the other players about maybe doing something that's different, that may be at an advantage or maybe help the team out. But this is coming from Byron Scott. Okay, this is not a Stan Van Gundy stomping up and down on the side of the court. This is not coming from a coach that is a fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants kind of coach that jumps to conclusions, doesn't know what he's doing, and has not proven himself. So, I don't know. And I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know what to think of this. If you can shed more light on this, I welcome it. Do I see D'Angelo Russell as that kind of person? Yeah. Is it necessarily a bad thing? Not necessarily. Is it Byron Scott wearing his feelings on his shoulders? Thinking somebody's trying to circumvent his authority and whatever? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't see Byron Scott as that kind of coach that would be that insecure that he would feel like he needs to bench a player because the player's trying to take over. I'm on the fence about this one. Big time. Like I said, if it was another coach who's full of themselves, not knowledgeable, hasn't been with the NBA for all these years, hasn't coached from one end of the U.S. to the... I don't know. I don't know.
Well, let me see if I can take you off that fence.
Okay.
Stay with me here.
Okay.
Are the Lakers playing for this season?
No.
What are they playing for this year?
The future.
Okay. When they drafted
There ain't no
D'Angelo...
capacity right now to play for this season.
I agree.
They're not...
Except for Kobe.
Right. Well, no, I'm saying
The goal!
the union, the team, by the time they get to that point, Kobe's going to be gone. Go ahead. They're in a rebuilding.
When they drafted D'Angelo Russell with the second pick overall, might I remind you, in this past draft, they said this guy is our point guard of the future.
And that's all well and good.
No problem.
Talk's cheap.
With Kobe Bryant sitting in this game, okay, that's a very important factor, that Kobe Bryant did not play in this game.
Because he wasn't out there on the floor.
Well, he was out,
Right.
okay?
That's what I'm saying.
What do you want D'Angelo Russell to do? Without Kobe, who else is going to do it? At some point, there comes a certain time in the game. We saw it last night with Ryan Anderson. At some point,
Somebody's got to take
you're
over.
gonna have a guy, I don't care who it is,
Right.
that needs to take over the game.
Right.
What
Or at least try to take charge.
do you want D'Angelo Russell to just sit by idly and lose?
No, because then he would have been accused of not stepping up and doing what he needed to do.
Okay. And
That's why I'm on the fence.
But wait, here's where I go to Byron Scott.
Okay.
Because let's remember who was drafting for the Lakers. Byron Scott.
Yeah.
Okay. You drafted D'Angelo Russell.
He was your pick.
Why not let him take over to prepare for the future? He's gonna have to do it without Kobe. He was without Kobe in this game.
You're validating what I said about being on the fence. Who's right and who's wrong?
But I think Byron Scott, his choice of words maybe, they strike me as very blasphemous. Because
He's contradicting himself.
you drafted D'Angelo Russell
You picked him.
for this very purpose.
Right. It's not like he was shoved down your throat.
And now you bench him.
Because it was obvious and imminent that Kobe was leaving, if not this season, next season.
And now you bench him
For
because
doing-
he did the job that you
That you
want him
chose
to
him to do.
eventually do. Now, I digress. Maybe Byron Scott drew up a play and Russell took it upon himself.
contradicted it and went out on the floor and did the opposite.
Use better phrasing. What is your word? Phraseology?
Yeah.
This, to me, in a vacuum, seems very blasphemous and very contradictory. That's just me.
But Bud, you and I both know that no matter what gets told to people like LeBron or Dwayne or Melo or whatever, once you're out on that court, it's not the coach that's out there. If they have to make last minute changes, they look to these big dogs and these professional big
Correct.
players to make the changes.
Yvonne, I agree. But without Kobe, who do they have? That's my point. The Lakers have no one else.
Okay, so what you're saying is Byron Scott expected D'Angelo Russell or somebody to raise their hand on the court and say, Kobe's not out here right now, what do we do? They can't do that. Somebody has to pick up.
That's my point. And you drafted him for that very
For that
purpose.
reason,
And now you're
to-
going to bench
To
him?
groom him.
And now you're going
to be
to
this
now you're going to
person.
bench him? To me,
Byron Scott's wrong.
it's a bad. I'm not saying he's wrong because I don't have all the details. I'm saying it's a bad look. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
It's a contradictory look. it's just a bad look for Byron Scott here. I mean, I don't
Would
know.
it have made a difference if he would have said, D'Angelo Russell is being benched for changing my plays?
Yes. 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 Trying to
For
take over.
trying to take over, meaning take over the leadership or take over on the floor?
See, that's where you debate about it.
Right.
That's why I'm saying it looks bad. She's gonna call you when she's on her way.
No problem. Why she don't want to go to the bank? They're charging her a fee, huh? Oh, she works a double tomorrow.
Yeah.
No problem. I don't think it's gonna.
Kobe Bryant, in the game against Dallas, congratulated Dirk Nowitzki after Dirk hit the game winner against the Lakers. Yvonne, is this a bad look for Kobe? Why or why not?
Are you kidding me? Of course not. This is called sportsmanship. This is called being a decent human being. This is called being a professional. This is called good manners. I mean, I could go on ad nauseum. Why would it look bad for Kobe to congratulate another NBA legend at doing something that he's been striving to do? I mean, really? That would be the same, that would be the same thing as 2 weeks ago, all over Yahoo, when Michael Jordan said, and Kobe said, that they had met on the court after that one game years ago, and what Kobe had learned from Michael and the advice that Michael had given to Kobe. Are you kidding?
I want to,
People are not giving Kobe enough credit.
he patted him on the behind and nodded his head. Since when is that congratulating somebody?
Well, even if it was.
I mean, really? And even if he went up to him, shook his hand,
And gave him a
hugged
bro
him,
hug, so
hugged
what?
him, and gave him a kiss, who cares?
I agree.
Who cares?
It's called being a good player and
Give
a
me a
good
break.
sport and a decent human being.
Josh Smith was traded back to Houston by the Clippers. Yvonne, smart or not smart, and why would the Clippers do this?
I don't know why the Clippers did it. Can you enlighten me?
I think not only you're gonna love this once I explain it.
Oh, please enlighten me.
Needless
Were
to
you
say,
surprised by this?
I was surprised that they traded him back to Houston.
Okay.
I wasn't surprised that they traded him.
Okay.
Number one, the Clippers got two draft picks out of this trade. So that's a win. Number two, Josh Smith was not producing, to say the very least. Okay? And number three, would you or would you not agree that coming into this season, the Clippers had the deepest roster in the entire NBA? Coming into this season, the deepest roster. From number 1 to number 15.
Probably
They
so.
were all known names.
Probably
Okay.
so. The only other team I'd put up against that would be the Spurs.
Right.
Right.
By trading Josh Smith,
New blood.
and with what Blake Griffin has put himself through,
Not just himself. This affects the whole team.
well, not according to Chris Paul. Not if Chris Paul's got something to say about it, it won't.
Okay.
That allows for someone to step forward. That allows for someone to come forward and establish themselves as, look, when Chris is off the floor, when DeAndre's off the floor, and we don't have Blake for at least another 2 months, I'm your go-to guy.
Okay.
Now who's that guy gonna be?
Well, not Josh Smith.
Paul Pierce. And would you rather have Josh Smith or Paul Pierce?
Without a shadow of a doubt. But Paul Pierce has not been starting. Does that mean that Paul's going to be starting?
It could. And
that would be wonderful.
And if he doesn't start, he's now the second guy off the bench behind Jamal Crawford.
Right.
Which is a lot better than what he is right now.
Right.
I love this.
I've never understood Paul Pierce sitting on the bench and having to wait behind two other people.
Because you got to start J.J. Redick.
I understand that, but he should never have had to wait behind two other people.
Well, I agree, but if it allows Paul Pierce to get more playing time,
experience.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Because all Paul Pierce is going to do is win you a bunch of games.
Absolutely.
Kevin Durant downplays New York and free agency talks. Then drops 44 against the Knicks. Yvonne, does this show you anything? Why or why not?
Show me anything about the free agency talks?
Is it a coincidence?
Of course not. It's not a coincidence. Of course not. He put forth the effort that we both know that he has, and the talent that we both know that he has, but for some unknown, ungodly reason, does not play to his full potential. And you're going to argue with me, I know you are. He does not give it 150% every time he gets on that court. He doesn't. Some games more than others, but not consistently every game. This goes to prove right here that he can. What did it do? It scared him? Talking free agency stuff scared him? All of a sudden he thought to himself, ooh, I better produce and I better show up.
This shows me a lot. Because it's one thing.
Please do not defend him 100%.
It's one thing to have somebody talk to you about the possibility of going to the Knicks this offseason and going and getting 25 and walking out of there with a win. It's a whole different ball game when you go out at Madison Square Garden, nonetheless, and drop 44 on the very team that you are speculated to be going to this offseason.
Positive or negative?
I'm sorry. Oh, for him, positive. For him, it's positive. He needed to do this because if he doesn't want to go to the Knicks, he just showed it.
Right.
Okay? And I don't think he belongs in New York. I think that's Carmelo's team. I don't think Kevin Durant belongs in New York.
No, I don't either.
And I don't think that's the best thing for him. I don't think he wants to play with Melo.
So this scared the hell out of him?
No. I don't think it scared him. I think it motivated him.
Okay.
I think it motivated him to say,
they're kind of one and the same. Here's what I think about
Here's what I think about
they're
those talks.
They're kind of one and the same.
Now, as far as your conclusion that he doesn't give it 100%,
this proves it right here.
Does it?
Yes. Come on. We've seen games. You're giving him too much credit.
No, I'm not.
We have seen games
Yvonne,
where he has not lived up to the talent we know he possesses. I'm not running the guy down. I know how talented he is.
I hear you and I agree with you. But let me state my case since you stated yours.
Okay.
How does Kevin Durant hurt you? Kevin Durant's biggest attribute, what is it? Scoring the basketball.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't he have to have the ball in his hands to score the basketball?
Now you're going to talk about Westbrook.
Doesn't he have a guy on his team named Russell Westbrook that hurts you in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they will never win a ring together? as
They
sad
shouldn't
as it
be on the
is,
same team.
I agree.
They shouldn't be on the same team.
I agree.
But if he's fighting this hard, still at OKC, dropping 44, that means he wants to stay there. So do you get rid of Westbrook?
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, there you go.
I keep Westbrook
So,
before I
okay.
keep Durant.
Thank you.
No, I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook is a worse player. I'm not saying Kevin Durant is a better player than the. No, I'm saying that it might seem like Kevin Durant isn't giving 100% when he doesn't do this. But the only reason it appears that way,
It's because of Westbrook.
now I don't like that wording, because of Westbrook, because Westbrook's going to win you games.
Okay.
Because of the way Westbrook plays.
Okay.
He plays the exact same way with less jump shots.
Right.
Whereas, because I got news for you. If Kevin Durant, which I think he's going to do, goes to DC in the offseason and plays with a willing passer in John Wall, this 44 will be consistent. Night in and night out. Maybe not to the tune of 44, but he will be scoring.
Okay, but he obviously wants to stay with OKC. Or are you telling me that just because they brought up the Knicks, he doesn't want to go to the Knicks so bad that that's why he did this, but he would be open to going somewhere else where somebody's going to pass him the ball?
It's not just about passing him the ball.
Allowing him to play his game.
It's not just about that.
All right, what's it about?
That's Kevin Durant's hometown.
Oh, I forgot that.
That's
I
where
forgot
he's from.
about that. I forgot about that.
My point is, and I agree with you, there have been times when he does have the ball in his hand and he chokes. Okay? I'm there. I got you.
We're looking at each other going, are you kidding me?
I'm saying that when he only scores 20, you have to look at how many shots he took. Because he's not the only one with the ball in his hands. He's not like a LeBron. He's not in the situation that Carmelo's in, or D Wade's in, or right now Chris Paul's in. He's not in that situation because he's got arguably the second or third best point guard in the world.
He's got a
on
lightning
his
bolt
team
on his team.
in Russell Westbrook.
And there ain't no way they should get rid of Westbrook under any circumstances.
Oh, absolutely not.
Ever.
Russell Westbrook is OKC through and through. However, I do
To
think
the point that you think he's a ball hog sometimes?
sometimes, but I think he has to be sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I think
And that's a big statement
I think-
from me. From me versus 3 years ago.
I think
that's a big
OKC
statement from me.
OKC, Russell Westbrook is OKC through and through
I agree.
until 2 years from now. Book it. Book it.
What's going to happen 2 years from now?
This offseason, I am on the record, January 28th at 4:59 p.m. Central Time. Book it. This coming offseason, Kevin Durant will wind up playing for Washington. He will. And the next offseason, 2 years from now, Russell Westbrook will be the starting point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. Book it.
Where did
Book it.
that come from?
That's where he's from. That's where he went to college at UCLA, the University of California at Los Angeles.
They're going to have to improve a lot between now and then before
No,
he
they
goes.
don't. That's the key. No, they don't.
They're going to have to go through their rebuilding process.
If Kobe goes
without Kobe.
and they don't, and they have a good draft, but they don't sign anybody, that's how you're going to know. This is how you're going to know.
If they don't
This
sign a
offseason,
point guard.
Not just a point guard, because D'Angelo Russell's a point guard. Okay?
Okay.
But D'Angelo Russell can play a little bit of the two guard.
Right, that's what I was
Shoots
thinking.
a lot of jump shots.
Right.
If they don't sign any big name, they are preparing to throw the bucket at Russell Westbrook.
Because then they'll have
2 years
they'll
from now.
have the Bucks.
Book it. Book it.
Wow, that's a hell of a prediction.
I am on the record. Book it.
Then what would the team consist of at that time for the Lakers? Kobe will be gone.
Well, it depends on who they sign this offseason. It depends on who they draft. Okay?
Okay, but with the existing players they have now.
Well, you're looking at D'Angelo Russell. Nick Young is locked in.
Wait a minute, though. D'Angelo Russell wouldn't be the point guard anymore.
No, he could play the two, though. D'Angelo Russell could play some two.
Okay, because
if they mold
because
him.
Russell Westbrook's not going to give up his point guard position.
And he shouldn't.
And he shouldn't.
Okay, but D'Angelo Russell shoots a lot of jump shots. D'Angelo Russell loves to
true.
score.
That's
okay?
true.
That's a shooting guard. That's what a shooting guard does.
Right.
Okay? Westbrook
He's
loves
too little to be a power forward.
Oh, way too little.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook loves to score too, but he's also a willing passer. He's third in the league in assists.
Okay.
Okay? At almost 10 a game. Okay? You'll have Westbrook. You'll have Russell. You'll have Nick Young, who's locked in, and Nick Young is solid. You and I both know that.
Right.
Julius Randle is coming into form. Okay?
Yeah.
The guy that broke his leg
Yes.
4 minutes into his career last year.
I know.
He is coming into form, averaging a double-double this year. Averaging. Roy Hibbert,
Oh, that's your big man right there.
okay, coming off the bench. You got Brandon Bass. You've got Lou Williams,
Yeah.
okay? And the draft coming up. They're talking
2 picks.
in the first round. They have 2 picks. In the first round. And you're talking
And with
about
Kobe leaving, they're going to have Bucks.
And you're talking about getting Ben Simmons. If you haven't heard of Ben Simmons, go look that kid up. He's from Australia. He is playing right now at LSU. LSU recruited that
no
kid.
relation to...
No.
Okay.
LSU recruited that kid from Australia,
Okay.
averaging 19.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal and a half a game.
Wow.
Averaging it. Talking about getting Ben Simmons in the draft, plus free agency,
And Kobe leaving...
and Kobe leaving's gonna free up $31 million.
They're going to have the money to... Yeah.
Book it.
Wow.
2 years from now.
That's a big prediction, bud.
Book it. You can also book that LeBron James will be back in Miami.
So, boy, OKC would take a big hit if
Yes.
Kevin Durant goes to Washington in a year, and then the following year Russell Westbrook leaves to go back to the Lakers. They won't have anybody left, basically.
Now I digress. For both of those men, if they don't go where I think they're going to go, they will both stay.
You haven't accomplished anything.
Comfort zone. Comfort zone.
You haven't accomplished anything to win a ring.
I agree.
You haven't.
I agree. But we've seen it happen.
Yeah. But Russell wants a ring badly.
Do you think KD doesn't? So does KD.
I think Russell wants it more.
I mean, I do too, but I think Kevin Durant wants a ring too. Because they've both been to the finals, and then they ran into the brick wall known as LeBron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Wow.
The Pelicans' Anthony Davis injured after suffering a blow to the head by his own teammate Tyreke Evans, who's also battling knee tendonitis, in the loss to Houston, and there's no timetable for his return. Now, we could have answered this question. It would have been a lot easier to answer yesterday before Ryan Anderson did what he did last night. But the
Right.
question is, how will this affect New Orleans?
Well, anytime you're going to bench somebody like Anthony Davis, it's going to affect a team like New Orleans and the Pelicans in the situation and the status that they're in right now. But you're absolutely right. Before last night's game, I would have been the first one to say, oh my God.
Throw in the towel.
You might as well throw in the towel. We're going to be at the bottom of the roster. We're never going to win another game, etc., etc. But after the show they put on last night, without AD And knowing that the only reason Anthony probably sat on the bench last night is because of the new stringent rules that are in place. I think he could have played last night. The look on his face was screaming, I want to be out there. But it also brings up the topic that I brought up earlier when we were talking about the Pelicans game. They won last night against Sacramento by 9. We're up as much as 23 at one point without AD on the floor.
And Tyreek, and Eric Gordon, and Quincy Pondexter.
Okay. What does that tell you? That tells you the talent is there.
Okay, but if Ryan Anderson doesn't score 35, do we
You're
win?
right.
Ryan Anderson could have scored 25 last night. Guess what? We'd have lost.
Right. Which means they better not get rid of Ryan Anderson. Is that still in the talking stage?
We don't know.
It should be being advertised.
Not necessarily. Not if they're doing it through just phone calls.
Oh, by the way, just to let everyone out there in NBA land know, I think, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, all the crap about getting rid of Kevin Love for the Cavaliers,
Non-existent.
that was not true.
Non-existent.
That was just a rumor.
Non-existent.
Okay.
Cavaliers fans in Israel have turned
Wait,
on LeBron.
you didn't comment on this.
Oh, I have no comment.
Okay.
After last night. I have no comment. Because I don't think Ryan Anderson's going to drop 35 a night.
No.
So I hope AD's back for Saturday's game against Brooklyn.
Okay.
To take some of that pressure off of guys like Ryan Anderson
Uh-huh.
and Norris Cole. And how about we give Bryce DeJean Jones a little bit of credit?
And
And Alonzo G. But Bryce DeJean Jones last night, his first start ever.
Alonzo G was awesome.
Ashik was good. I mean, everybody was good last night.
Okay.
Yep. Cavaliers fans in Israel have turned on LeBron since the firing of David Blatt. Does LeBron deserve this? Why or why not?
No, it's stupid. It's not even worth discussing.
I agree.
It's not even worth discussing.
We don't live in Israel.
Excuse me?
We don't live in Israel.
LeBron does not own the team. LeBron did not have the final say so. It's like, get off the man's back, for God's
I
sakes.
agree.
Once and for all.
I agree.
I don't even want to dignify that with more discussion.
Kobe, quote, Lakers fans didn't really appreciate Pau Gasol.
In what context did he mean that? And how did that come up? And what was being
They
discussed?
were interviewing him and they asked him because the Lakers played the Bulls last night. Pau Gasol plays for the Bulls. They were interviewing a couple days ago and they mentioned Pau and how he's still playing at a high level. Even at 36.
Okay.
He's still playing at an extremely high level.
I don't
and,
see Powell retiring anytime soon.
Well, me either, but still. Okay? And Kobe, that was Kobe's comment. Lakers fans didn't really appreciate Pau Gasol. Is he right?
Absolutely. I think so. We're not talking about Mark here. We're talking about Powell.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's right. I also think that Powell is pushing himself and is a little, I don't want to use the word resentful, but out to prove that he was not worth getting rid of. You follow me? Depends on how you look at
Well,
it.
let's give the Lakers a little bit of credit. They didn't get rid of him. He chose to leave. Okay?
Do you think he chose voluntarily or under duress?
He was a free agent. He could have stayed.
Okay.
But
Would you have stayed with the Lakers in the condition they were in at the time?
I would stay with the Lakers.
No matter what, because of Kobe. It's not.
No, not
that's
just-
not a fair question to ask you.
Not just because of
Come
Kobe. It's
on.
not just because. Why would I not want to play for Byron Scott
Okay.
in LA at the Staples Center?
Okay.
I like the spotlight.
Okay.
And Kobe Bean Bryant is absolutely, positively, 100% correct. Pau Gasol.
Is his middle name really Bean?
Yes, it is.
B-E-A-N?
Because his dad was Joe Jellybean Bryant.
Oh.
Was his nickname. So Kobe's middle name is Bean. Pau Gasol was so underrated when the Lakers got him in the trade. And he was labeled as soft. He was because at the time he was nothing but a jump shooter, didn't really have a post-up game, didn't really play too great a defense. And then he came to Los Angeles, and his whole, not his playing style, but his whole outlook changed.
Right.
And aggressiveness came about him, and he started to hit big shots, and he developed his game. He developed a post-up game.
That's the key word right there. He developed himself tremendously.
Now, Kobe helped along the way. Phil Jackson was the head coach. You know, he helped along the way. Guys like Derek Fisher, 5-time champion.
Right.
Ron Artest. And all those guys.
He was in the best possible place to learn as much as he possibly could and develop his skill.
In that trade for Kwame Brown. What a scrub he was. Pau Gasol was very underappreciated in Los Angeles. Now, he got himself 2 rings, and Lakers fans loved him, but they didn't appreciate what he brought.
Right.
And look at him now. I mean, he's still doing his thing. I've always liked Pau Gasol.
Yep.
Always. Aaron Aflalo of the New York Knicks, quote, "We're a playoff team. Period." Yvonne, strong statement. Agree or disagree?
You take that one.
With Melo, you're a playoff team. Now, Melo's got to get...
You're pulling out one person. Team.
Wait. I'm saying that if this injury to Carmelo Anthony and the knee problem is anything severe, you're not a playoff team. Carmelo has that big of an impact as far as leadership, scoring in big moments, scoring in general.
Every category.
Melo is that valuable, is that good, and is so underrated.
Yep.
Okay? But in the state you're in right now, with Porzingis doing well, Derek Fisher seems to have eliminated that triangle stuff. Okay? There's no drama going on, knock on wood, because I like the Knicks. And with Melo, if he gets healthy again...
Has Phil Jackson taken a back seat? Or has Derek Fisher taken a step forward?
I don't know. But whatever's happened is working.
Yeah.
Barring anything happening drastic...
I think while Derek Fisher was out recuperating, he reanalyzed everything.
Barring anything drastic with Melo, I agree. Now, you're not a 4 seed. You're not a 3 seed. But a 6, 7, or 8 seed? Oh, yeah. I agree. And by the way, I love the confidence.
Oh, yeah.
We're a playoff team.
Yeah.
Period. I love the confidence. It's not arrogance. It's confidence. I like that. Your take.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. It's a shame, and it's almost unfair to put the spotlight and all of the burden of this statement based on whether or not Melo is hurt and is going to be out for an extended period of time. It almost is. However, it is what it is. It is what it is, and you cannot argue the point.
And let's also remember, he's the $127 million man.
Right.
Okay?
They didn't give that to him just for his look.
Heck no. Although they could have.
Right.
Shaq, quote, Shaquille O'Neal, quote, "I killed off the center position in the NBA." Yvonne, big time talk. Boy, a picture's worth 1,000 words, ladies and gentlemen. Agree or disagree?
What do you say about Shaq making a statement like that?
Is he right?
Really? What do you say about Shaq?
I mean, do you
was
think...
he serious?
Yeah, he was serious.
Or he was just joking.
No,
and cutting up and being Shaq?
That is a serious statement.
Okay, do I think that Shaq was an absolutely wonderfully awesome center during the time that he was at his best? Okay.
Well, his best lasted for a long time.
Okay. Yeah,
it also had a lot to do with his size.
Okay. But there's a couple of years there towards the end where he had no business being out there.
Well,
He
yeah.
was nothing but a big brick wall to run into.
No, he wasn't a brick wall. No, he wasn't. He was a lump.
Okay, that's what I meant.
He was a lump.
As Rondo can attest to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shaq was playing for my Cavaliers at that time. Just saying.
Okay. That's an awfully big conceited statement to make. That he killed off the center position in the NBA. I'm sure if we looked at the stats, which you're famous for, and we put up some of the best centers of all time, that he would be probably in those top 7 or 8.
Shaq's my number 3.
But to say the best of all time,
Shaq is my number. Look, I got the list right here. I got the list right here.
okay?
Shaq is my number 3.
Who do you have as number 1?
Kareem. Without a doubt. And Bill Russell number 2. Because of 11 championship rings. Kind of hard to argue with 11 rings.
Absolutely. When there's no more fingers to put them on, that's kind of hard to argue.
It's hard to argue when you got 3, much less 11.
Do I think he was great in his prime? Yes. Do I think that this statement was full of hot air and Shaq just tooting his own horn? Yes. I think it was uncalled for. Unless it was just Shaq being Shaq.
I'm going to defend Shaq, but I'm not going to go this far.
Right.
Shaq was the most dominant big man this game has ever seen. Ever. The most dominant big man. Just in a vacuum. Just on sheer size and physicality.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he played with Kobe and the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
The most dominant presence for a big man
Would you
this game.
Would you want to run up the court and face that? Come on.
No.
Exactly.
But to say you killed off the position,
No.
you'd be
That's
saying,
going a bit far.
You'd be saying that guys like Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins
In this day and time.
and Andre Drummond.
Let's go back to when he played.
Well, you'd be saying, gosh, centers in that time, there was no competition for Shaq in that time. But to say you killed it off means you've made it extinct.
Right.
Well, Dwight Howard exists, last time I checked.
Exactly. DeMarcus Cousins exists.
Big time. Andre Drummond exists. I mean, come on.
DeAndre Jordan exists.
No kidding. No kidding.
Zach Randolph exists.
Mark Gasol.
Right.
Joakim Noah. I mean, come on. Don't go that far.
Right.
You are the most dominant big man force the game has ever seen. But that's it. That's it. And that's a big time compliment from me, by the way. Steve Kerr and Jason Kidd are both back on the sidelines
God.
coaching their respective teams. Your thoughts?
Thank God.
I agree.
Thank God. There's not much else to say about that.
I agree.
Steve Kerr looks good again, finally.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kidd might have wanted to sit out a little longer, but I don't think he could stand it.
No, me either.
He had to come back.
Yep.
Jason Kidd has a very big advantage, or it might even be considered a disadvantage at this point. He's a coach who used to be a player.
A very good player,
Wait.
too.
But not so far into the distant past.
Right.
So everything is still fresh in his
only a few
mind.
years ago.
So he knows how important it is to be out there.
Very good player, too.
So he was much more reluctant about sitting out too long.
No, I agree. I agree
Okay.
completely. Kobe Bryant pulls out of the 2016 Olympic Games consideration. Quote, "I've had my time." Yvonne.
I don't know if there's anything that I could say about the level of respect that I have for this man to know when enough is enough, to know when his body has had enough, and to know that it's time, as hard as it's going to be, to pass the bar or the golden ring to someone else. This took the utmost, don't get emotional, this took the utmost amount of humility, courage, and self-examination. And there is no amount of respect higher than I feel for him for doing something like this. There are the naysayers and the ugly people out there saying that he knows that he couldn't cut it. Bullshit. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Bullshit. This is a man who knows his limitations, respects his body, knows what he can endure, can't endure, and decided that, you know what, I've done the best that I can do. I've had my day in the sun. Let me pass this on to someone else. I have nothing but respect for him for doing this. Tough. Voted number 1 to be in the All-Stars, but decided to bow out of the Olympics. He knows how much the public loves him. He knows that he would have been welcomed with open arms. This is an internal self-examination. And I respect him. I respect him so much, I can't even put it into words. He knows when to quit. And I'm sure his wife and his children are very grateful.
I guess I'm spoiled.
You wanted him to go. I know you wanted him to go.
I guess I'm spoiled. It's hard not to be. It's Kobe.
Yeah.
What?
And I understand.
It's just, and I agree with you to a T. It's just
It's not going to be the same
hard.
without him there.
It's hard for me to stomach that Kobe won't be suiting up for the Olympics.
In his last season. Right.
By choice.
Yeah. He's a smart man though, bud. He knows.
I mean,
You're speechless.
I'm never at a loss for words, ever on this show.
This one did it.
I'm at a loss for words because, and I'm not.
And you're being pulled in both directions at the same time.
I'm not mad at him
No?
at all. I
No?
can't be. But it's, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words.
You have to respect his wishes. You have to respect his wishes. And understand that he's doing this for himself and his family.
I'm at a loss for.
Would it be better that if he went out there and made a fool of himself? Would it be better if he went out there and injured himself to where he couldn't be there for his family?
Even if he was just on the sidelines, that would do me justice.
No,
But
it
just
wouldn't.
oh yes,
wouldn't
it would
be the same.
because I want him to get one. Because I want him to get one more gold medal. There's not a 3-time Olympic gold medalist in basketball for the U.S. I wanted Kobe to be the first one. I wanted him to have that honor over Jordan. I wanted him to have something that Jordan didn't have.
I understand that.
Because I look at him in a bigger light than I do Michael Jordan.
And I
He
understand
is
that
Michael
too.
Jordan to me.
I understand that.
Derrick Rose even last night. They interviewed Derrick Rose, and he said he's our generation's Michael Jordan. Derrick Rose,
Yeah.
who plays for the Bulls.
Yeah.
The same Bulls that Michael Jordan played
I
for.
understand. It was a personal choice.
I
and
just-
he just.
I do respect it, and I do see where it's come from.
It's just hard
I
to.
can't believe it.
It's hard to wrap your head around it.
I can't believe it. Yes, I can. I can. I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
Kobe has spoiled me.
Yeah.
And wow. I mean, how can you not respect the hell out of him?
Absolutely.
I don't. I am the biggest LeBron lover you will ever find on the planet. There is not a single athlete that I respect more. Maybe Peyton Manning. But there is not a single athlete that I respect more than Kobe Bryant. On the face of the planet. Peyton Manning is very close. Very close. But I don't respect another athlete on the planet more than I do Kobe Bryant. It's unbelievable. And speaking of Kobe, last week, January 22nd, 10-year anniversary of Kobe's 81-point game. All it says is reminisce.
Anytime there's something to talk about that's one for the record books, it's kind of hard to reminisce. It was phenomenal. It was something, one thing good to say. It's something that will go down in the annals of NBA history, and he'll always have that. His children will have that. His grandchildren will know about it. I'm glad he's still around and still in good. Do you realize he's still playing? Most people that have this kind of 10-year anniversary to look back on are not playing anymore. They're retired. They're not around anymore. Or they're too old, or they're too injured, or whatever. He's still on the court, and he's reminiscing about the best scoring game he ever had.
You want to know what this game means to me? This game meant so much to me that I memorized his stats. 28 out of 46 from the field. By the way, that is a ridiculous percentage when you do the math. I know it sounds bad. That's like 57% shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 8 out of 13 from three-point range. 18 out of 20 from the free throw line. 7 rebounds.
Which usually, if they're a good free throw shooter,
That's 90%.
they're not going to be a good 3-point shooter. If they're a good
Yeah,
3-point
not
shooter,
Kobe.
they're not going to be a good free throw
Not
shooter.
Kobe.
Right.
7 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
5 assists. 3 steals. 2 turnovers. Does that tell you what that game means to me?
Mm-hmm.
The greatest single game performance. Screw Wilt Chamberlain's record.
You can't say that.
That is not the scoring record. And I'm not going to explain why for an umpteenth time on this show. You're 7'1", and the guy that's guarding you is 6'5". Yeah, I'd score 100 too. That's like me playing against 7 kindergartners. Okay? In that era, give me a break. 80.
They didn't grow them back then like they do now.
81. In my mind, that's the scoring record. In my mind. I don't know if anybody's ever going to break that.
One day somebody might.
I don't know when.
It's a historical day. It's a historical
And to think
record.
that was a decade ago.
10 years ago. You were 11.
I remember watching it. I remember watching it.
He had a fro then, didn't he?
Nope.
Oh, that was after the fro.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was his last year as number 8. The year before he went to number 24.
Yeah.
This man, and then I'm going to close this argument. This man deserves to have 2 jerseys retired.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
There's a debate on whether to do it. Don't even debate about it.
Just do it.
Do it and get it over with, because if anybody wears either of those numbers to the Lakers again, it will be a disgrace. Because nobody's going to be Kobe ever again.
Right.
There's only one
Well,
MJ.
I'll be honest with you. If I was a team player, if I was coming into the team, I would not want to wear Kobe's number.
No. Establish your own legacy.
Well, not only that. Do you want to be compared to somebody who had that kind of
To
record
Kobe?
in history?
Please. There's only one MJ. There's only one Kobe. There's only one LeBron. There will never be another. So just go ahead and hang number 8 and number 24. Be done with it. Be done with it. Don't even debate over it. 81 point. That sounds absurd to say.
Well, yeah, because they play a whole game, and sometimes that's the score or less of the whole game.
81?
Much less the whole, right. Much less one person.
Oh, by the way, 81 in 41 minutes. Didn't even play the whole game. He still sat 7 minutes.
What did the team score that night?
Oh my God, it was 140
40
something.
something, yeah.
So it wasn't just Kobe.
No.
He just flat out
Wasn't
scored.
that one of the biggest scoring games?
Oh yeah, it was the biggest scoring game that season by a team.
No, by any team ever.
Oh, it's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's like in the top 5. Huh?
Yeah, it's up there.
Okay.
Kobe, it's not like the others weren't producing. Kobe just flat out scored 81. I remember him walking off the court doing this, and I'm just like,
Right.
did that, excuse my French, did that shit just happen?
Right.
What you want me to say? What,
There isn't anything to say. There
It's
isn't
Kobe.
anything to say.
What you want me to say? Dwayne Wade and his son's connection. You're going to like this one.
Okay.
So D Wade, as we know, has been bothered by a couple of illnesses as of late. Well, he returned to play against Brooklyn. Okay? And his son, before the game, now his son is 13 years old. Okay? Back in Miami, D Wade, yes, his son is 13.
He and Gabrielle Union have a son that's 13?
Yeah?
I didn't know he was that old. The son? Okay.
Dwayne Wade. Now keep in mind, Miami's at Brooklyn. So he's in New York. His family's in Miami. Okay? His son takes his phone, okay, and texts Dwayne Wade a picture of himself. And the caption reads, "Just stay in attack mode, big dog." Said, "I know you're not feeling well. Just stay in attack mode, big dog." How cool is that?
And Dwayne posted that?
And guess what Dwayne did against Brooklyn? Dropped 27.
Probably not feeling 100%
Dropped
at
20.
all.
Dropped 27, 8, and 6. And missed 4 shots all game.
Wow.
I just thought that was just stay in attack mode, big dog. That's
Yeah.
a 13-year-old talking to Dwayne Wade.
Right. Kind of like when Chris Paul's little boy was sitting on his lap
good
when
Lord.
they were interviewing
That is
him.
the cutest kid.
I know. And Chris was getting ready to answer a question, and he looked up at his dad and he said, "You want me to take this one?"
That is the cutest kid. I'll never forget when Chris, I know we're not on, Blake Griffin's not high on our list right now. I will never forget in that press conference in the playoffs 2 years ago, when Chris Paul told his son to do the Blake face. And his son just looked right at the camera and goes, I will. And that kid looks exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you couldn't mistake it.
Yep.
That is Chris Paul's son.
Yeah.
NBA.com is doing.
But they have a little girl now, too.
Yes, they do.
How would you like to knock at the door to go pick up Chris Paul's
I'd
daughter
love it.
for a day?
I would love it.
Yeah, but how would you like to hear the lecture you're going to get?
I'd be more worried about LeBron.
Oh, well, that's true. LeBron doesn't have any little girls.
No,
LeBron has
but
three sons.
But if LeBron did, at least I could look like this to Chris Paul.
That's true.
No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
NBA.com has released the first ever official NBA rankings for the top 100 players of all time. Allen Iverson came in at number 46.
Out of?
100. The top 100 players. Yvonne, your thoughts?
It's embarrassing. They should be ashamed of themselves. I do not understand. What kills me, I think, the most, and has always bothered me the most, is that they are never going to forgive this guy for a couple of things from his past.
Be more specific.
And yet, in this day and time...
Be more specific. High school.
Right, okay. From way back in his past. And yet, in this day and time, you can beat the hell out of your wife. You can get stopped for your 7th DUI or DWI. You can get drug abuse charges put on you. You can have a barroom brawl with somebody. You can kick somebody when they're down on the ground. I'm talking about all sports here. You can, and all this kind of stuff nowadays is either, oh, well, we're going to fine him $25,000. He's got to sit out 1 or 2 games. You know, that kind of stuff. It's so easily overlooked. And yet, this man, who was an absolute legend in his own time, and came up with moves that in this day and time, I would consider change the face of basketball and the way that it's played.
No doubt.
And he is still not getting the recognition that he deserves. It's like, what more would the man ever have to do to be forgiven or seen for his talent and his ability in that era? And obviously, Chris, between you and I, this is going to follow him for the rest of his life. And I'm sorry, but that's just a sin and a shame.
You're never going to meet a bigger Allen Iverson lover than me. He was the first player that I ever fell in love with. Ever. He is one of the main reasons.
The man played sometimes against almost impossible odds.
He played against impossible odds every game. Because let me remind you, Allen Iverson was listed at 6 feet.
He wasn't 6 feet.
180 pounds.
No.
I am here to tell you,
No way.
straight up, point blank, Allen Iverson was 5'10", $160. Those are insurmountable odds right there. In that era,
And in that era, who was playing?
with Shaq
Yeah.
and T-Mac and Vince Carter
Yeah.
and Tim Duncan
Yeah.
and Ray Allen. And
Yeah.
are you kidding? You know what?
He'll never be forgiven. And it's ridiculous and it's a shame. And he'll never be given the recognition
Here's
that
the
he
thing.
deserves. And the thing that I think that kills me the most, Bud, they'll never give him an official position back in the NBA.
They will.
I don't see it.
Yeah, they will.
You keep saying they will.
They will. Philadelphia
I don't
will.
see it.
Philadelphia will do it.
At least as a
But
recruiter.
you know what? These are the same people that at the beginning of this season said that Kobe Bryant was the 93rd best player in the league. So how much am I really going to put on this? Not a lot.
Yeah, but Kobe's still playing. I mean, this guy's been trying to overcome this bad stigma and this cloud over
I'm
his
not-
head for how many years?
We all know that
I
Allen
mean, I
Iverson.
gotta wonder on a day-to-day basis, how's this man paying his bills?
We all know.
What's he gonna do?
We
Go work
all
at Taco
know-
Bell?
We all know that Allen Iverson was a top 20 NBA player of all time. If not, top 15, top 10.
That doesn't put money in the bank or pay your bills.
He made some poor choices. Okay? He made some poor choices.
He was 19 and 20 years
He made some poor
old.
choices. He needs to be forgiven.
As much as you love Kobe, did Kobe or didn't Kobe have 2 or 3 affairs on his
Yes, he
wife
did.
to the point that she said, I want a $15 million diamond ring before I'll take you back?
$18.5 million diamond
Okay, well,
ring. Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
He was a
Yes.
philanderer.
Mm-hmm.
He had girlfriends in almost every city.
Yes, he did. He had the Tiger
Are we
Woods syndrome.
really gonna hold that against him when he's that good on the court?
Nope.
Are you kidding?
Allen Iverson deserves to be forgiven, and he deserves a rank better than number 46 because we all know better than that.
That is a disgrace.
We all know better than that, including the idiots at NBA.com.
That is a disgrace.
We all know better than that. That concludes this edition of Full Court Press
Oh.
Basketball Debate.
Everybody needs to watch the Cleveland-Detroit game tonight.
It's going to be a good one. They got a lot of good games on tonight.
Yep,
It's going to be a good one. That one tips off actually in 17 minutes, so I got to get running.
yep.
That does it for this edition of Full Court Press. Thank y'all for joining us. For Yvonne Juno, this is Chris Guyette. We'll see y'all next week, guys.